Hello everyone and welcome to your reading. Today's topic and what we will be reading today is about Mercury Retrograde and what lessons you are being presented with or what past situations may be resurfacing that the universe wants you to confront, as well as upcoming changes that either have started during this Mercury retrograde or are on the other side of it for you. So before you have three piles. I will be working within each of those piles for that particular group to get the messages. So whichever pile you feel attracted and drawn towards, that is your reading. Feel free, of course, to listen to the others. There could be messages in there for you. And as with anything, if there's something that I say that doesn't resonate, leave it. And if there is something, please take it. If you would like more in-depth detail, because this is a general reading, please book a session with me on my website, and I would be happy to work with you one-on-one. I also offer packages where I blend in Reiki, regressions, meditation, and other things into readings if you would like. Hey everybody, if you have chosen this pile number one, I'm getting ready to shuffle your cards and see what messages Spirit has for you. Again, for some of you, I'm getting a time from childhood. That's something that could be coming back up. I'm seeing some of you on a swing set. Also, this deck is my oldest deck. It's very old, in case you can't tell. And I'm having some flashbacks type of the visions and stuff that I'm seeing feel like flashbacks. So, okay. Also, this deck is normally very easy to shuffle, and it has actually been very difficult for me to shuffle. And I am kind of thinking that this could be a situation that's very thick and difficult to move through. So let's go ahead and see what things we are being asked to review in this pile from earlier life, any past situations that may be resurfacing, any messages that may be coming through in terms of the lessons that you should be learning. Wow, some very powerful cards. Okay, for some of you, you may be faced with surrendering right now, and that type of surrender that I'm talking about is not the cliche kind where you may find, somebody may just say, oh, let it go, and you could just do that and sleep on it and you're better. This is the kind where it's sort of existential. This feels like something that could be very challenging on a day-to-day basis. So this feels like something that could be a reminder. Now, this could be somebody that has passed in your life recently, and so you may therefore be faced with grief and going through the grieving process and surrendering that and accepting that. Part of surrender truly is acceptance. Some of you may be faced with the loss of a job or the change in a career path. Some of you may be faced with a new relationship that is lovely, but it's also new and it feels scary. So this is something that's definitely new. Whether you view it as a positive or a negative addition to your life, it's new, and it is requiring some faith and trust in the universe, and it's requiring surrender. Also, some of you may have a very, very, very fertile soil that you are treading at this moment. In other words, the picture that I'm getting is somebody walking the red carpet on the way to receive an award. And it almost feels like you get a flash as you're sitting in your chair in the award ceremony that you're going to be the winner. And you see yourself doing this. But there's a fear that if you buy into that you might, jinx it, or you may be feeling superstitious, like I can't think about it, I can't visualize, and the universe is trying to say, it's already done, you've manifested it, it's on its way. And you may be faced with a time that seems to be recurring where you get your hopes up And in the past, your hopes have led you to feel disappointed, and the universe is trying to rewrite that story for you. Something can happen to us once or twice in the past, and then we start to overgeneralize that every time we get the feeling like we did in those past situations in the present tense, that the past is going to repeat itself. Sometimes we can sabotage current life situations so that we just almost make history repeat itself. And I'm almost seeing some people that have a really beautiful opportunity. Perhaps you're interviewing for a job, perhaps you are in the throes of a new relationship or a new part of your relationship. And so you're being tasked with surrendering because it's done, and it's done in a very positive way. It's done, it's on its way to you, and it is a wish granted. So for those of you who are wondering about something that you're struggling with and wanting to know, we're almost getting into the second part of it, changes that are forthcoming. If you're wondering if something's going to work out or not, and this would be a very important part of your life, not, will the color that I painted my guest bedroom work out? Something major life, career, family, love, something major life path-wise. Is it going to work out? And Spirit says yes, that it is. Lastly, I have a message from Spirit to pass along to you about a man in the past. This more than likely is a father figure, or someone who is a CEO, president, a teacher, a boss, someone who was in a position of authority that would be male. I also want to leave room for a small percentage of those who are watching that may be dealing with somebody who in the past was female that has a very strong masculine tendency. But someone from the past who had a position of authority, a father figure or female who had a strong divine masculine output in their persona, that there is some trauma around. Spirit just said, tell them daddy issues, they said. So they have a sense of humor today. But I want to say that, our family of origin, that is to say, our father, mother, siblings, if we have any, the family that we're born into, a lot of times there is trauma and stuff that gets wrapped up in that. And we may not even realize that it was trauma or something that we need to work through until we get later into life. Mental health is something that's becoming a bigger part of our conversation today in culture. And so we can't have that conversation with also having family of origin conversations. So there are some messages, lessons, or resurfacing of themes that have to do with a male authority figure. This would be somebody that is that you looked up to, somebody that you maybe in some ways emulate, but there is a male figure in the past that you were being faced with doing some healing around, or some resolving, some resolution. And depending upon what your situation is, again, I'm going to keep this somewhat general. That could mean several different things, but I have a feeling that you will have already been reminded of that during this Mercury retrograde, or you probably have a good sense of what that is already. It could be a theme that's reoccurring in your life. I also am filming this in a studio that is next to a train, and so you may be hearing that in the background. And so Spirit just said that travel could be involved. This could mean that this person either lives far away from you, or that travel and movement has something to do with one of these things that we've talked about. Surrendering, for those who may be looking at a job that it could be in another place, or you could be moving or something of that nature. You're being asked to surrender your fears, and not to feel that you're being blindly hopeful, but that you're surrendering your fears and asking for guidance from Spirit, because they are ready and willing to intervene to help heal whatever the basis of that fear is. Okay, all right, so let's talk also, Spirit, provide me some information around upcoming changes and things. They've already started to get into that with your pile, so this is very interesting. I don't know if that's going to be a theme in the other groups or not. We will see. Once again, this deck that is normally so easy for me to shuffle is very thick. And so whatever this is feels like it could have taken a long time to build. You may feel like this took a lifetime for you to build, or that it has taken you quite some time to get to this place in your life. You may have gone through a lot of, my goodness, a lot of difficult shuffling, if you will, in life to get to where you are. Spirit is giving me a few visions of important people in my life who I know have gone through a lot in life. They've been through the ringer and they've come out the other side in a very positive way. Their story is inspiring. Sometimes we watch the documentaries and we hear about stories of people that have these sort of pull themselves up by the bootstraps and work their way up from the bottom to the top. And we go, oh yeah, that's a nice story for them, but you know, that would never happen to me. And Spirit is asking you to surrender that, because you may be sabotaging your future by not believing that you could be in a place of success and abundance. So you are being asked to surrender that level of fear because it could be blocking you. Okay, all right, so I see that there has been some shadow work that's been done, and that is going to be a catalyst for you that gets you to the next level. And I'm seeing a tremendous amount of inspiration and passion behind a project or a relationship. And so anything that may have blocked you from that is being released, is being healed. And I see you surrendering that and believing. And whatever this outcome is that you are seeking, that is whatever changes you are wanting to manifest in your life, this is a highly positive omen. I realize that I am putting this video out, and I do typically tend to be somebody that believes in the optimistic philosophies in life. I would also be very honest with you, because I've been on the receiving end of readings that were less than honest, and or at least that was my intuition as I look back on them, that maybe people were just giving me and telling me what they wanted me to hear. And so I made this pledge in agreement with Spirit that I would always be honest with people when I read, and that I would count on them to give me the information in a way that I could communicate it so it wouldn't be totally discouraging, but it would be honest. Because let's face it, sometimes life doesn't always hand us, you know, roses and butterflies and rainbows, right? Life is sometimes challenging, and the way that I'm seeing this is extremely positive, but I can't help but get away from this thought of waiting for the next shoe to drop. Spirit says that some of you watching this may be buying into, oh, well, if I don't believe that it can happen, then I won't be disappointed when it doesn't happen. And then if it does happen, then I can sort of be like surprised and be like, oh gosh, yeah, great. But that is not how it works. You have to visualize and feel and lean into the discomfort of not knowing, but also believing that it can happen. It may not happen how you think it's supposed to. It may not even happen when you think it's supposed to, but it will happen. And the way that the shuffling, just that message, the way that I'm interpreting that as a message, that this has been a long process, and you have plenty of reasons to doubt and be skeptical and be afraid of what's coming up, because there's something you really want. There's something you want to work out, but you're not sure if it can or it will. But deep down, there's a part of you that knows your destiny. And there's a part of you that is wanting to connect to Spirit and wanting to release those. And so if you're watching this, there's no mistake that you're watching this. The message is buy into your own press, buy into your gifts and your abilities, believe in them, lean into them. And that is your doorway to the future that you want to manifest, and to release the fear that maybe somehow, you know, as I said, the next shoe is going to drop and you're going to be disappointed once again. This Mercury retrograde is facing you with, or is forcing you to face delays and illusions that you may not be on the path that you hope that you are. It's wanting you to face that and see through it. And Spirit wants you to trust them, that they are working on your behalf and moving in such a way that you are going to achieve what it is that you've set out to achieve and do in this lifetime. Okay. Wow. All right. This is another powerful card. So if you're looking for recognition, if you're looking for confirmation that there is love in the air or in the future, I would absolutely say that whatever this is that you're hoping to work out, or this is literally a marriage card, and Spirit's wanting to say that if you are questioning a relationship, or there are some relationship difficulties, maybe you're taking the next step in a relationship, that this is a very positive step and is a very positive omen. This does feel like a soulmate connection that you have, and the two of you, or for those who are in non-traditional relationships, many of you, this is something that is a very powerful tool for the universe to help create love in your life, to heal you, to heal the other person or people, to help you to feel, what are they saying? They're giving me this image of that there's a multiple person job, right? So you've just ordered something from IKEA, or I don't know why they're giving me that, but it's like you could try to put it together by yourself, but you're not going to be able to. You have to have help. And so it feels like at this stage of your life, this person has been brought to your life to complement you, to work with you, and you to work with them. And you work together in ways that are very healing and loving. And it is a very important season for both of you. I would say that each person, and this could even be a dear friend or a family member that you are on the mend with. This could be a business partnership that if this doesn't relate to you in a romantic sense, but it feels like that there is something that is coming together to be wed, if you will. And I see it in Spirit is showing me cards that give me very, very positive energy. So this is something that is beautiful. It's meant to be. It is coming together. There is hope and love and good energy, good karma, really, honestly, around this connection. So very positive, a time of celebration, a time of reflection. Of course, Mercury in retrograde always does call things back up from the past. But in terms of what shifts and changes are taking place, there is someone special out there for you if you're not with them already. I see this coming together quite quickly. It does seem to work in tandem with the amount of shadow work that you are doing and the amount of healing that you're doing. But I also have the sense that some folks out there that are watching that feel happy in the relationship, and that may be sort of a given, there is a potential shift in your life that may be taking place with another organization or person in the future, and it is going to be a very positive one, a marriage, right? A contract, if you will. So, all right, and then the last message, okay, some of you may be moving. We talked about travel. That's interesting. So this card does indicate that there could be movement or travel, but it also indicates sort of the beginning stages of a project or a relationship, and it heralds a very positive omen. So once again, all extremely positive cards on the table. I see that some of you may be sort of have conquered the world, and you may be looking out there and going, okay, gosh, what's next? What do I want to do next? You may have gotten a certification or a degree, and you think, okay, now that I've got this educational box checked, now I need to look for what firm am I going to go work for? You know, which state do I want to live in? It almost feels for some of you that the world is your oyster, and this feels like the beginning part of your next season. And you would be right. And this is a season or a chapter in your life that is ripe for all kinds of fruitful outcomes. I'm getting also that some of you, once again, because this is a card that can indicate two passionate people coming together and manifesting a life together, this may even be a collaborative relationship. Once again, Spirit is giving me the indication that This refers to romantically, others this refers to in a career perspective, but that there is a mending or a coming together of forces that, if on their own, would have been inadequate to reach the goal, but together are more than enough to get to the eventual outcome. Okay, very good. The last thing that I want to do is just open up Spirit to see if there are any oracle card messages from the Moonology deck. I am not going to pretend for a moment with you that I am an astrologer. I have wonderful friends and colleagues that do astrology professionally. I would totally rely on them more than I would myself. I know just enough to be dangerous, but I definitely know that Spirit can speak to us through any myriad way, any, various ways. And I'm getting the sense that for some of you, you may be feeling the need or desire to want to even learn more about your own astrology and maybe what that means for you. Or you may want to be maybe want to be leaning into learning so that you can be educated. Maybe you even want to become an astrologer. Maybe that is your next chapter. So some of you may have astrology on the forefront. So I felt led to pull the deck, the Moonology Oracle deck. Okay, the first card is really pretty powerful, and it pretty well tells you confidence is your key to success. And it has a Leo fire energy. All three of the cards about the upcoming changes in your life are all fire cards. A lot of passion, a lot of fire, a lot of inspiration in these cards. A little bit of ego, but I sense that for those who are watching, you don't struggle so much with ego as you struggle with kind of the opposite side of that, right? I don't feel a lot of narcissistic energy out there in this viewership. What I feel is that there are some folks who need to almost lean into the other side of the spectrum and start to believe in yourself, starting to buy into your own press, starting to believe and accept compliments when people give them to you. And so confidence is going to be the key to the next stages of your success. For those who struggle with confidence, I would totally encourage you to, during this season of reflection with Mercury Retrograde, lean into perhaps getting some coaching or counseling. Of course, I'm a life coach if you would be interested in discussing ways to sort of uncover that inner confidence or to come up with strategies for that part of your personal growth. I also think that some of you may be tasked with a public-facing role or having a higher amount of stress or responsibility. That's the word that Spirit wanted to give me than you're used to. Maybe you are having to kind of be out there more, give more of your opinion to a larger audience, or you are in front of you're sitting there looking at a task and going, gosh, 10 years ago, I would have never been able to even think about trying to achieve this, but here you are. And so you have to kind of believe and bypass the lie and see through the illusion that you can't do it. You would not be faced with it and able to do it, or even look at this goal or task that's ahead of you if you weren't in fact ready for it. Okay, and I just heard when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Okay, so there we go. The next card, your dreams need a practical plan. All right, your dreams need a practical plan. This is a Taurus energy message. So we had a lot of fire in the upcoming changes that are coming forward for you. We have some major developments for you that are upcoming that are super positive. Really fun reading for you because I get to deliver a lot of good news. The one thing that I do want to challenge you with is for you to come up with a plan to stay grounded. Meditation is a beautiful way to stay balanced and grounded. Getting Reiki, working with, as I say, some sort of professional like a therapist, a counselor, a life coach, having a mentor or an elder, somebody in your family that you really connect with and look up to, or a best friend, or somebody that can kind of keep you honest, but also that you can check things out with, and put it on the calendar and make it recurring until it's time to take it off the calendar. It feels like something needs to be set up. And for those of you who struggle with self-care, I'm thinking, set up monthly appointments for Reiki or chiropractor, or, have a weekly meeting with a coach or a therapist. Go see the doctor about that thing that you need to see the doctor about. For those of you who struggle with, coming up with solutions for practical things around the house or automobiles. I'm terrible with cars, right? I would really rely on the expertise of friends or family, or just go to the shop, right? So having like that monthly calendar reminder, it feels like there's something to do with time and routine that you've got to get out ahead of. And Mercury retrograde is a perfect time to revisit those types of things and to create new patterns that are going to help you get through the next segment of our astrological shifts that are coming forward. All right, and the last message for you says a time to give rather than take. So while we are talking about self-care, and we are talking about being able to see the good that is within us, it almost feels like we may have been doing a lot of introspection and maybe sat on the sidelines for a bit. It's now time to get back out there. It's time to show your face. It's time to text that friend and check in with them. In your relationships, ensure that you are giving and being as attentive to the other person or people as you have been receiving. So we must have balance. And sometimes when we are looking down the barrel of a big life change, we can freeze. That is part of the body's response, right? Fight, flight, or freeze. And so if we freeze, we're not giving. We're not in that active mode. And so this could be saying that we need to get the pedals moving and get the wheels turning so that we can create that energy and continue the momentum through this phase. So I like this. This is a highly balanced reading. This all really resonates even for me in some respects, and I hope that this has made sense to you. Again, this is only general. Take what makes sense for you and what messages were for you in this reading. Leave the rest. And if you'd like to deep dive into something more one-on-one, I'm more than happy to work with you. Book an appointment with me online. I do virtual and in-person readings here in the Nashville area. But I do have several clients that have been expressing to me that they like the idea of having something set up, routine. So we're talking about routine again. So I've had some folks that actually have monthly readings, and so there are some discounts and things like that that I extend to clients who have more regular sessions, just as a way to encourage and incentivize folks to stay on top of their own spiritual growth and energetic health. So if I could be of service to you, I would be very honored to. Thank you for checking out this reading. Feel free to share this with anyone. I would be very honored if you would do so. Hit the subscribe button, and I would love to connect with you in another reading, whether one-on-one or on this page. All right, love you guys. Take care. Group 2, if you selected this deck, then this is the reading for you. Feel free to check out any of the other decks, but if you felt drawn to this one, I feel that there may be some messages in this one for you. As with anything, if something doesn't resonate, please leave it. It was not meant for you, and take the things that do. Feel free to check out any of the other readings, but as I say, if you felt drawn to this one, I feel like there might be some stuff in there for you. Okay, all right, so let's take a look here. Okay, new ways of thinking may be coming forward for you, and one thing that's fascinating, I said the word clarity. This card is literally all about clarity. It's all about clarifying. It's all about communication. It's all about new information. So there could be something that you have learned that's new during this Mercury retrograde, In particular, you could have learned something new about a past event, a past person, or there could be something that's from the past, or a new lesson, or something that's something new, whether that's new light on a past situation, something new that's resurfacing, something that's resurfaced, but you have new understanding of it, they say. But also you may be looking at the world in a different way. And that could be really exciting and positive for many of you. Okay, so let's continue to move through this. Okay, there is some grieving that is going on in this group. For some of you, you may feel like this is something that you really, really, really want to get over, something that just doesn't seem to want to let go. For others, this could be something that's new that just occurred during the Mercury retrograde season, whether during the shadow phase in the weeks leading up to Mercury retrograde, or it's something that literally has happened right here in the thick of it. Once again, I live by a train. I'm filming this in the studio that is by a train, and I have a train that's coming through. This happened in the first group. And so this could be something also, travel could play into this. I'm not feeling it just yet. But the grieving could be taking place with somebody that you're in separation from, or somehow trains, automobiles, planes, travel relates to that somehow. Okay, so there is some grieving, there is loss. It's something that's disappointing, that's not gone your way, but you are looking for clarity around it. You're wanting to think of it in a new way, and perhaps you already are. Aha, okay. For those of you who are grieving the loss of a relationship or seeking clarity around a relationship that is ongoing or has ended, Mercury retrograde it's pretty well understood to sometimes create friction in human connections that lead to disagreements, that ultimately lead to miscommunications, that ultimately lead to the endings of relationships. We so often hear that one of the keys to a successful, satisfying, healthy, happy relationship is communication. What I think we sometimes associate with communication is the active part of that, which we always think of as speaking, communicating, right? But there's also an active part of communication, which is listening. Actively listening, not to respond, but to understand. And so this could be a key in healing a relationship that has ended. I feel some of you may have met somebody that is a soulmate, that things are on the rocks, or there is some sort of challenge or difficulty that's going on. Perhaps there's an ending to that relationship, or perhaps you're feeling you are getting more clarity and new light shed on a past relationship. Okay, I'm fascinated by that, and I want to keep digging into that, but I do want to honor your time, and so I do want to go ahead and get some messages from Spirit about the new things that will be coming up, or changes or shifts in your life. These could be things that are already happening. For some of you, I have this strange feeling that you may be feeling stuck. So some of you may have had somebody from the past, by the way, resurface. And there could be new thoughts, new ideas, new ways of thinking that you may have wanted said person to come back, or you may have enjoyed in the past the attention that brings you. But I feel like for you in this season, you're learning the strength of being able to accept loss, accept the lessons from past relationships, and be able to move on in a healthy and happy way. So there are some of you who may be out there feeling that. Okay. All right. So the things that may be coming up for you, I would say the next full moon cycle, you may be seeing a marked improvement in whatever the challenges are that are before you, or one full moon cycle. All right. So put those on your calendar, right? But I also get the sense that you may be struggling with feeling that the path is clear, and that you really are trying to take things one step at a time, but you just don't know. Is the next step going to be a pitfall, or am I going to step, in a lion's den. You know, it feels like the sun's not out, so you can't see everything clearly. You're walking by the dim light of the moon. And so what this is actually telling us is that the way that you move through the situation that you're in at this time is by leaning into your intuition, your faith, and your own intuitive psychic abilities and gifts. Meditation, Reiki, listening to your own inner voice. So I feel that that is going to be an important aspect to this next season for you, and it's what's going to be one of the major keys that turns the lock in the door to open up your next chapter. Once again, a card for meditation comes forward. So those of you who have been thinking about meditation or wanting to learn to meditate, perhaps you even want to get certified to learn how to meditate, okay? One of the things that is going to be coming up for you is more and more signs and nudges and pushes from the universe to get you to do that. That may not sound super sexy, but I can so tell you from personal experience, it has unlocked so much for me. Meditation is what allowed me to get back in touch with who I truly am, and I live a completely different life now after I found the peace and balance that meditation offers. For some of you, it may be yoga. For others of you, it may be Reiki. But there is some sort of push for you to lean into self-care, both your own, and I feel that for some of you, you may be also leaning into learning about how to provide these types of services for others. So if you've been interested in learning something in the metaphysical world or the energy meditation type of space, then this is a clear sign for you that is going to be upcoming opportunities will be brought to you. You need only accept them. Okay, so let's see the next kind of coming forward. Okay, you're being encouraged to really think twice and maybe even triple check your communication. I feel that you may be exposed to some dysfunction in certain parts of your life. This could be a group of friends. This could be a company that you work for. This could be a group that you're involved with. But whatever the circumstances, I think that some of you may be deciding that enough is enough with a certain group of people. And it may feel enticing to want to lash out, but what I'm actually feeling is that there's nothing wrong with you just simply stepping aside, even if it's just for a temporary amount of time from a particular pursuit or group of people. I do think that these cards are really quite intermingled. There's some positive energy. There's also some life challenges that are before you. So if you've picked this group and you are feeling stuck or you're feeling like you're struggling, I don't want to discourage you that you're going to be, you know, just sort of trickling forward without any clarity, because clarity is clearly on the table. But what I am going to say is that it may not come to you in the way that you think. For example, you may have a flat tire on the side of the road. They're giving me this strange vision. They speak to me in analogies. And you may feel like it would make sense to call AAA, but instead somebody pulls their truck aside and helps you fix the tire. You would have never predicted that, perhaps. You also may not have necessarily been as open to strangers, but whoever this person is comes and gives you the sense that they really are just kind of a good Samaritan or benevolent person, and they come to swoop in and to help you. And so the universe is saying to prepare yourself that it may bring you these angels along the way to help, and to also be open to the nudges that they give you internally within your own inner hearing, your own inner voice is going to lead and guide you. You may not do things in a typical you fashion or way in the next phase of your life. This could be the ushering in of a more authentic version of who you really are. You may be trying things that are different or new. You may be experimenting with things that are different or new. It may not feel like it's something that you would ordinarily do, but I get the sense that you are going to be trying new and different things. I did say that I wanted to get some clarity around the first line, and what I'm going to reserve the right to do is pull one extra card for each thing. So I would like one extra card clarifier for each row, both for the messages that Spirit you have for them in terms of learning, healing during this Mercury retrograde, but as well as the upcoming events. So 1 and 2. Okay, yes. So right off the bat, I feel that there is the opportunity for you to look back towards a time when you were more independent or feeling more stable and grounded within yourself. Looking back to your past victories, and your healing during this Mercury retrograde could actually feel like you are getting back to a version of yourself that existed before something hard happened. And maybe you have felt stuck in a rut for quite some time. Maybe you have felt you're just sort of being, you've just been limping along, right? But there is this inner strength within you. There is this inner child within you that is wanting to burst free, to experience the beauty and fun in life, who is grounded and who is a healer and both accepts love and gives love. There is this inner part of you, but it may be in there somewhere deep down that you've not allowed yourself to go forward and access. So at the end of the day, what I'm feeling is that you are being encouraged to reacquaint yourself with that inner healer, that inner strong, balanced inner child within you. So I feel that that is coming through pretty strongly. I also think for some of you, you might be entertaining having new people in your life that aren't just takers, they're also givers, and they give from a place of generosity. And so if you're looking at cleaning house and doing some spring cleaning in your social circles and stuff, you are very much so being encouraged to do that. I even think that this could practically look like somebody that, buys your dinner and you're not always buying their dinner, So this is both a practical, kind of materially sound, balanced, and grounded person that could be coming into your life and teaching you that you don't always have to be the person to give, but you can also be the person that accepts. And to that point, I also noticed that there are a few of you who are being challenged not to hurt you, but to strengthen and embolden you. I see some of you will be setting some major boundaries going forward, and that this will be a major key to the next chapter that you are writing for yourself. This may look like saying no a lot more and saying yes a lot less, so that your yes really has some oomph. And I think that you will be disassociating, no longer associating, let me say, with folks who, as I say, may push the boundaries, push the limits with you. And I almost see like you going no contact with some people that are just toxic. As I said, I get this sense that there may be a group or a particular person that's represented in your life right now that you are kind of feeling disenfranchised, you're feeling disinterested, you may even feel sort of left behind or kind of on the tail end of everybody's time, and you really want to prioritize yourself and find other people and jobs and situations that are more in alignment with you, where you feel important, you feel held in high regard. And I think that that is really important for you to make those decisions, to step away from situations that are not serving you anymore. And that's hard, because sometimes saying no when you don't know what's on the other side of that fear can keep you stuck. But you are being encouraged to step not around the fear, but to move through it to get to the other side. Okay. I also think, just as a tidbit and to tag along to that some of you may be finding you are being spiritually guided through a really difficult situation right now, where there is some dysfunction, whether that's in a relationship, a job situation. Be open to the nudges that you get. And I just heard Spirit say, explain the difference between ego and intuition. So if you're struggling with, okay, when I'm getting a nudge, is that my ego or is that my intuition? And one of the first questions I would ask you is, are you meditating? Because if you're not meditating or doing some sort of mindfulness practice, you can't trust your intuition. Or let me say it this way. You can't feel as trusting of those nudges as to whether it's your ego or your intuition. That's what I really want to say. That's what they wanted me to say. So the idea is, you have to get to a place of your center in order for you to know, when you hear that inner voice, is that something that's trying to keep you small? Or is that somebody that's trying to get you to the most authentic, best version of yourself? And the only way to do that is to be in a mindfulness practice. So as I say, meditation, in the metaphysical space, there are some healing aspects to it, even if it's something that feels out of the norm for you, but there's something in that for you. And I get the sense that you are going to be guided to doing more of that, so that Spirit can have a closer relationship and clearer communication with you. The more grounded and balanced you are, the clearer Spirit's voice is. The less grounded and balanced you are, the more it's going to get muddled and mistaken for your ego, and the louder your ego gets. So that's just an encouragement for some of you out there who may be, but this is not an all bad reading at all. There are some challenges that are in this reading, but I'm telling you, the cards for some of the current lessons and events, I think that some of you may be feeling really healed in some relationships right now. Of course, if that doesn't resonate, leave it. But some of you may be feeling like, man, I wish I knew this and understood this aspect of life a long time ago. And this could be the healing nature of relationships, leaning into relationships and friendships where you aren't being let down and disappointed perpetually. And maybe some of you are taking risks and signing contracts and taking new work gigs and branching out there and going to networking events and doing new things and meeting new people. And you may be wishing that you had done this a long time ago. Don't stay too stuck in that regret. Feel it, process it. But also, I think that you're being shown that you've learned the lesson, for those of you who that resonates with. So lastly, but certainly not least, I want to get a few oracle card messages just for guidance for you, just to see anything that Spirit wants to top off this reading with. This is interesting. This card actually came up in the first reading. So if you're here from the first reading or you haven't looked at it yet, this card also came up. So this is a Taurus card that says, your dreams need a practical plan. Okay. So once again, I'm going to go into it. I may sound like a broken record. Meditation may not seem practical, but you being mindful and grounded and know where you end and where you begin is highly practical. You being able to receive that intuition and inner guidance from Spirit, highly practical. Because it can, if you face a fork in the road and you need to know whether to go left or right, and you don't know where the information is coming from, but you're going left and you don't know whether that's your ego or your intuition, very practical to know that you have Spirit speaking to you, right, in that moment. So creating a routine, a healthy routine, that's something that came up in the first group. So this being a pattern now in the second group. I'm fascinated to see what comes up in the third group. If this comes up again, that's going to be wild. But yeah, so I'm getting routines are going to be extremely important to many of you during this season, especially if you are facing challenges. That could be as simple as a routine of having a check-in with a friend every week, right? Having a friend date. If you are in a relationship that is needing healing, it could be setting up a check-in period. Every Sunday afternoon, we're going to go do brunch together, and we are going to do a state of the union with our relationship. This could be something where you need to set up a routine for your own health and wellness. So getting to the gym, seeing a chiropractor, seeing a doctor, routine, a plan. If you want to write a book, you got to set a time every week, Spirit says, to dedicate to that time. If you want to be better at, whatever, singing, you've got to find a vocal coach, and you've got to set that time up. If you want to be grow your social media or get to the next step in your career, you've got to invest your energy in a way, and that takes some vulnerability, right? You're going to see some aspects of yourself that need healing, so there's some exposure that's there, but that's not all bad. That's good. We can't do that. There's hardly anything out there that's worth doing that doesn't require vulnerability, right? So vulnerability is the key to a lot of things, and so having that practical plan in place, Spirit says, is an important aspect to your next steps. So if you got to thinking that maybe Ryan had woken up on the wrong side of the bed with this reading or something like that, because there are some messages in here that are more instructive than, like, boom, major star card, good news. Here's a good one for you. Luck is on your side. So as tough as things may seem for you right now during Mercury retrograde, if you feel stuck in your job or stuck in a relationship or hopelessly single, it's so super important to be connected to Spirit in a way that's meaningful and tangible, because when good luck is on your side and they are bringing you positive things, if you're tapped in and tuned in, then you can go the right direction to go uncover that good luck thing. And I think that you're going to see, once again, this reading is one I would say that feels more receptive, more passive. Being open to Spirit bringing you things. Let me say it that way. I don't feel that you've got to go dig for this. I feel that they're bringing it to you, and that it's going to be a very passive series of decisions of left, right, straight, left, right. And then the only way you know it's that code is because you are mindful, you have shed the ego, you are balanced and grounded and encapsulated by Spirit's energy, and that's how they're going to get you to this next chapter. They're going to get you through, kind of wade you through some of the challenges that may be coming forward or you may already be experiencing. So good luck can only do so much. You've got to be in a place where you're in the receiving mode and receptive to it, all right? Okay, last but not least, your hard work is paying off. So if you do feel like there has been a series of investments that have not reaped what you expected, okay, that could be literal investments, all right, the stock market, right? Or it could be more kind of abstract. So you've been giving a lot in a relationship. You've been putting a lot of time into the gym. You've been trying a lot of different ways to get your health back on track. Perhaps you've even felt like you've tried a lot of different angles to reach out to people to help, to get help, or you've tried a lot of different ways to learn or improve something in your life. Spirit is telling me that those were not in vain. That's the wording that they just gave me, that there is something important to each amount or ounce of energy that you invested. Everything that you have done, they say, up to get you to this point has gotten you to exactly where you need to be. Like where you are right now is exactly the right spot. And if you had done anything differently, you'd be further behind. So even the things that feel like mistakes, they were only lessons, and you had to go through those lessons and those important things in order to get to where you are right now. That sounds like a cliche, but like I'm hearing it as clear as day. So I can tell you if I had not made a lot of the mistakes and taken a lot of detours in the past parts of my life, I would not be in a place where I'm at right now, and I'm very happy. So I can tell you from experience, there really is no such thing as mistakes. There's just lessons. So don't beat up on yourself. Begin to see those past things that you may be seeing resurface during Mercury retrograde as lessons, and not so much something to shame yourself or beat yourself up over. Lean into those new relationships. Find the clarity through meditation that you need to heal any past relationships or any past things that may be coming back up for you during this Mercury retrograde. And trust your intuition. Lead by faith and not by sight during the season. That is what is going to be the key, and it's going to act like a GPS for you to get you from point A to point B. I even just saw a vision of planes landing during really low overhead cloud cover, and how they have instruments that do all these quick calculations so that the pilots are basically just button pushers, and they follow a set of instructions that get them from point A to point B, and you're probably snoozing back on row 10 just waiting to touch down, right? You're not worried about it. That's the kind of autopilot that Spirit wants you to get into, and they're like, let us take care of the rest. So this is a time to receive rather than to be super proactive, but to know that the work you have put in had to be put in, and you did it. It's super important to get you from that point A to point B. It's happening. Now is the time for rest, to allow others to do their part, allow the universe to put those silent pieces of the puzzle together for you, and to accept the nudges and guidance that they give you. Okay, that's your reading. I hope that this has been helpful. As always, leave what does not make sense. What you do take from this that resonates, please cling to that, hold on to it. Feel free to share this with anyone. I would be honored if you did so. And if you do need something in terms of a one-on-one or more individualized reading to get some more information to dig for your unique situation, please book a session with me. I also have some packages where you can blend multiple services together. I even teach tarot and Reiki, so if you're interested in doing that, I'd be really excited to work with you. I have a lot of students that have gone on to do some awesome things in their careers, and I would love to be a part of your life as a teacher or as a reader. Yeah, check out my website. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope to see you either one-on-one or in one of the next readings on this channel. Number 3, if you were drawn to this deck in this pile, then this is the reading for you. As with anything, only take what resonates with you, leave the rest, and feel free to check out any of the other readings to see if there's some messages that are in there for you as well. As I'm already starting to get some stuff, I'm not having a seizure, I promise. That's kind of what happens when I start to receive information. So I'm asking for that guidance now. Okay, all right, I'm already starting to get some cards coming forward. All right, so in terms of lessons and things, I see that there could be a particular person that would maybe resurface. This could even be revisiting a time when you lived in a past place. You could be moving, or you could be thinking back to a time where you even lived in a past place, past home or past city. This also could represent a person though, so I want to see if the cards tell me a little bit more. Okay. I feel that one of the things that you've been faced with is the fact that you can only take so much, you can only take on so much, and that there are some stressors in your life that you are being forced to really face. Is it worth it to keep this person, this activity, this particular role, or this job? Whatever this could be, it feels like you are facing the limits of what your mind, your body, and your soul can take. And you're realizing that you can't continue to take on all of the things that you're doing. You're being asked to revisit your own limitations and to deal perhaps with some sort of hero complex that's within you that may want to take on everybody else's stuff. There could be a struggle to use the word no, which, by the way, is a complete sentence, no, period. So yes, some interesting lessons and things being resurfacing here. Ah, yes, the spiritual journey. Okay, for those of you who have chosen this reading, I feel that you may be feeling like you're in the midst of a spiritual awakening, which can have some spiritual awakenings are marked by these dark nights of the soul, times where things just seem existential. Maybe everything is going wrong. You've hit some version of rock bottom, and you are on a path. You are on a journey where you feel like walking away from things that once seemed inevitably a part of your life and really made sense, but now they don't. You could be feeling like you are walking away from a job that's no longer fulfilling to you, a relationship or a group of people that is no longer in alignment with you. You're starting to reevaluate the people, places, and things that are in your life. That's the best way that I can summarize from a general perspective what I'm getting. Fascinating. Group 3. Okay. All right. We're going to keep digging into that and looking into that. I may even pull some clarifying cards, but I think so far that's a good start. So let's see, as well as the next part of the reading, which I failed to mention, I think, at the beginning, which is that we're going to also see what changes and things are upcoming for you in this next season or chapter of your life. Now, these things could already start showing themselves to you during this Mercury retrograde, or they could be things that are waiting for you on the other side of it. Okay, let's see here. All right. Ah, yes, what a powerful card. So I think that there is some level of expertise and recognition of your expertise that is on its way. If you have been vying for a position or been looking for more leadership opportunities, if you have been wanting to find balance in your relationship to where you are not seen as somebody that can be walked over, these things are on their way to you. I feel like you may be a person that needs a more traditional approach to the next chapter of your life. It's not a thinking outside of the box kind of season. But of course, as with anything, until I pull all the cards, I reserve the right to augment my words, but we'll see. Oh, okay, yes. This card actually came up in the second group's reading. I feel that there are some things that may not go your way, or they aren't going your way right now. You may be looking for you may be looking to try to put a square in a circular hole, or a circle in a square peg, hole. So I think that something hasn't been working for you. As I say, I go back to the very first part of this pulling the cards, where I said that there are some of you who are overburdened, who are overtasked, who are working way too hard. And I feel like that could maybe link there, actually right. This card is right underneath that one. And I get the sense here, Spirit's telling me that you have been hesitating to go reevaluate this part of yourself because there's something paying off for you in keeping things in this way. So it could be the money, it could be the comfort, it could be sort of the certainty, and you're not wanting to change things because that could create uncertainty. You may not want to confront someone because that could be risky, right? There's the unknown of how this person might react. Whatever this is for you, and I am asking Spirit, I'm trying to be as open-minded as possible here for this general reading to give me any other analogies that may be relevant here. But I do feel like there is something that you may be hoping might work out that's just not going to. That could be a job that you've just taken. Okay, that's another one. A job that you've just taken that you're not really feeling aligned with, or a job that you've been in for a long time and you're wondering, Spirit, what's the guidance? Do I kind of keep going through the motions here and taking that paycheck home? or is there something new on the forefront? And I do feel like on the other side of this disappointment is something new and more aligned with you. I had the word recognition in my head when I first began this. So I think that, and I actually just saw a post today, which was so amazing. I'm going to reshare it. But it talked about, it was a picture of a letter of denial to Dr. Albert Einstein. And it was from some university, and he was basically denied his doctorate and an associate professor position at this university for his outlandish theories that wound up being just sort of like world renowned and accepted. So Spirit's giving me the idea that there is a door that has either closed or will close going forward for you, but that's ultimately years to come. You're going to look back and go, I'm so glad that that door shut on me. Even as hard as it was, life would not be as satisfying and as good as it is now. And so they are saying that there is something waiting for you on the other side of a disappointment. Ah, yes, what a beautiful card to follow it. New inspirations, new projects, new passions, new inspirations in the form of creative endeavors. If you are a creative person that's not been able to get your own creativity out there, that's coming up for you. New relationships, new collaborations, newness on the other side of this disappointment. I do fancy myself an honest reader. I love to be optimistic and positive. I also love to be honest. And so I'm not going to just give you an all rose-colored glasses reading here. I am going to tell you there are some difficult things that are going on in your life. As I said, dark night of the soul, spiritual awakening. These things sound sexy on paper, but they're extremely challenging to work through in life. Existential crises, things of that nature can come up. Midlife crises. I mean, we are seeing people younger and younger and younger being faced with what is the meaning of life and what did I come here for and what's my purpose, what's my mission. And some of us came here to be a wave of change, a sea change. And I think that when we get that call, it's becomes more and more painful when we don't answer. So the phone's ringing and it's time to answer. And I think many of you have answered. Some of you are being instructed to answer. It is time to answer the call to create both change in your life and in the world around you. I'm being reminded of a Rumi quote that said, once I was clever and wanted to change the world, and now I'm wise and I've chosen to change myself. I may not have gotten that exactly right, but Rumi's point was that the key to changing the world around you is to start inside of yourself. So there is some work for you to do. There is some grieving. I'm not going to say that you are not entitled to time to move through that, but it feels like things may not have all gone your way and you may have a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth. But let's not cry over spilled milk, because on the other side of this is pretty much everything that you're wanting. It just may not have gotten to you the way that you thought it was going to. Okay, let's take a look at some oracle card messages for you. And I have this since I may even pull up this other deck that I have not used in the other two readings, because Spirit's messages have been very clear and efficient in this reading so far for you. So I'm hoping that with the little bit of extra time here towards the end, I can pull some other clarifying cards from that deck. I don't know why I'm feeling drawn to this one. So, all right. Right, shuffling here for you. Any messages for this group 3 that they need to know? Ah, yes, this makes so much sense. And with the new moon and eclipse card, this says, expect powerful change. Powerful change. And everything that we really inevitably want is on the side of is on the other side of change. People who are progressive tend to, romanticize change, but it is also not easy. And like it or hate it, human beings, the way that we are designed is we don't like change. We get sort of used to the equilibrium of sorts. We learn to adapt, and we find ways to just sort of survive in whatever it is that we are in. And so change is uncomfortable. Change is always uncomfortable. But powerful change, and that is the word verbatim in this card, is coming your way. And I'm so glad that that card complements the reading that I've been getting so far for you, because powerful change is coming forward. This is not the kind of change where it's like you just get a new car kind of change. This is life-altering change. This is the ultimate of ultimate manifestations. This is absolute world recognition. This is powerful financial abundance. This is the dissolution of debt. This is the ridding of toxicity that creates open doors to soulmate relationships. This is the ultimate healing of fractured relationships that create lifelong partnerships and commitment. This is ultimate career achievement. These are powerful changes. These words are being channeled. I'm literally getting them, and that's why I'm slow in saying them. They're coming to me in this way. So Spirit is speaking to you and saying that whatever discomfort you face right now, find gratitude in this moment, because I promise you, hand right here on this invisible Bible, I would be completely honest with you if I saw it a different way, but I am being honest with you that there's something really powerful and amazing coming forward for you. And it is going to require surrender. Wow, that word was in my head and I should have said it. I would have made myself look even more psychic than I am. So this card says surrender to the divine. And this message came forward for the first group very clearly. Surrender, surrender, surrender. So surrendering to the divine, once again, sounds wonderful on a Hallmark card. You know, trust in God, believe the angels are there for you, you know. Your higher power has your back, or your higher self will give you the answers. And these sound really lovely. When you are faced and challenged to do that, it is a totally different story. And I completely empathize with those of you who are in that situation right now. But what I want to tell you is that through surrender, the powerful change can happen. Unfortunately, the opposite is also true. If you do not surrender, change will not happen, and you will continue to get what you have been getting. And that is the risk. You don't know what is on the other side of change, but you have to change something in order to get something different. That could mean that you make a few mistakes along the way. Part of Mercury retrograde is facing perfectionistic tendencies that we may take with us from early life. Many of us were taught that if you don't make all straight A's or get on the cheerleading team or win the debate or, you know, win that election or do this or do that, it's like what you're supposed to do. If you don't win, then you're not worthy. If you're not the prettiest, you're not worthy. You know, if you don't do it the way that you're supposed to do it, if you color outside the lines, you're not going to get love and attention. These are messages that we're given sometimes intentionally and sometimes inadvertently, you know, when we grow up. But as kids, we soak all of that up and we take these things with us into adulthood. And those events create adult perfectionism. And so the surrendering of perfectionism to the divine and allowing yourself to make mistakes, there really is no such thing as mistakes. There's just lessons, Spirit says. So allow yourself to step out of bounds. Allow yourself to color outside the lines. Allow yourself to try something new. Sometimes you'll try something new and go, I'm really glad I've never done that before because I never want to do that again. Sometimes you try some sort of new food and you're like feeling adventurous and it doesn't pay off and it tastes terrible. And that's okay. Now you know you're not going to ever eat that again. You don't want to eat that again, okay? The point here is you are going to strike gold. You've got to make a few mistakes along the way. You have got to fail along the way, or you are not risking in putting that highest version of yourself out there and reaching for the stars. Some people only want to reach for the clouds. they may or may not get there. When you reach for the stars, you get the clouds and then some. So there is a strong push from Spirit to say, to step out there, expose yourself, put yourself out there, that authentic part of yourself. Take that step, take that risk. It will pay off. It will be honored by the universe. Even if it feels like a mistake, one day you'll be grateful that you took that step. Last but not least, adjustments are required. So sometimes the words and the readings just write themselves. Okay, so this makes a lot of sense in tandem with the other messages that we've gotten so far. So adjustments are required. There is something that's got to change for something new and different to take place. And frankly, I see you doing that. And I see you, for some of you, it may feel like the first time in a long time that you've put yourself out there. But I'm telling you, if you haven't already done that yet, some of you may have already done this and you're like, yeah, I've done this. If you haven't done it yet, you're going to do it, and it's going to feel like riding a roller coaster without a seatbelt, let me tell you, and it is going to pay off. I'm telling you. And when you make these adjustments, when you do decide to take that step, whether that's in a relationship, a career pursuit, whatever this is, standing up for yourself, putting one of your creations out there, going back to school, learning something new, whatever it is, everything that you want is on the other side of it. Take that step, move through it. You can't get around it. There's no such thing as getting around. You will always repeat the lesson until you learn it. It's moving through the lesson, and on the other side of it is everything that you want: creativity, joy, appreciation, relationship. Okay, these are the things: recognition, abundance, wealth, prosperity. All of those things are on the other side of you stepping out and taking that risk. So many of you may be tasked with cutting back and investing your energy somewhere else. Some of you may be tasked with looking at your health and prioritizing your health over other things. Some of you may be prioritizing yourself for the first time in your life, or for the first time in a long time. You may have somebody from the past or something that reminds you of the past that has resurfaced during this Mercury retrograde, which makes you look back towards a past relationship where there was a lot of hurt and pain. I'm almost getting the sense that this could be a particularly narcissistic person, or somebody that was really just not empathic and really at a low place in their life, and they hurt you and they hurt a lot of people. And these types of people can be very karmic and create a lot of pain, but from that pain can rise a very powerful, changed, highly evolved person who is on a path, and they cannot be stopped. So let me tell you, as you are doing your Mercury retrograde past reflections, and trust me, it will find a way to you if you haven't done it yourself. These reflections and these looking back towards these past events, these lessons are very important for you right now, and that theme is going to repeat itself, and the lesson must be learned and embraced in order for you to face your next set of challenges in this next chapter. And trust me, I feel that I see somebody much stronger before me. They're giving me a vision of somebody that's done the work and can now lift the load and lift the weight. But sometimes we try to lift things in a way that's hurtful. You know, the physical therapists tell us that if we bend over to try to lift things, that can hurt our back and hurt other muscles and strain things. It feels like the effort and the energy is there, but it's almost like it's inefficient. And so for some of you, you may feel like it's a reworking of the way that you go about doing things in a more efficient way. Some of you may have been going to, I don't know why I'm getting the sense of like schooling, like you may have taken psychology classes, and you may have taken biology classes, and you may have taken some law classes, and you're like, what in the world do I want to do? And then it's like, I feel like you find that thing that you want to do, and you go, gosh, I wasted all of this time doing these different things. You didn't waste the time. You needed all of that. You needed to do all of it. You had to do all of it, right? And it's going to prepare you for this next chapter, I promise you. So adjustments are required only in the sense that you need to be receptive to Spirit guiding you through the change. And if you invite Spirit in, they will absolutely guide you in the highest and best way possible. So that is your reading. I hope that this has been helpful. As I say, these readings are fairly general, and I do try to keep them open-ended and only transfer the information to you that I get, or transmit the information I get from Spirit to you in a general way. So if a more personalized one-on-one reading would be helpful for you, I'm here for you. I would love to read for you on a one-on-one situation. You can book with me online. I also have packages where you can combine other services like Reiki, meditation. I also teach tarot and Reiki if you'd be interested. And yeah, I would love to work with you in whatever way I can be of service to you. And if it's not in that way, I would love to see you on the next reading. So feel free to share this. I would be honored if you did. I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you on the other side in another reading.